Time for another dough recipe. This one is going to be bread, pizza, rolls. This is Mom's recipe. And the ingredients: 5 pounds of flour, 2 cakes of yeast, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 cup of oil, salt, and water. And I don't have fresh yeast, so the equivalent is 4 of these ones you can buy in the store, very common. So first thing I'm going to do is get the yeast in a bowl with some warm water and then sift the flour. So I've got the yeast in 2 cups of water, and it's hard to read, but it's shown about 100 degrees. And the recipe called for 4 to 5 cups of water. So I have another step was to take this 5 pounds of flour and sift it. So I've got the old sifter here, and I'm going to sift it into this large bowl, all 5 pounds, and then we'll be back. Not sure that the sifting was needed with today's breads, or flours I should say. But anyways, I went through it, didn't see any contaminants. And so I'm ready to go on to the next step, which is to place all the dry ingredients in a large bowl. So I'm going to add the sugar and salt and make a hole in the middle. So I mixed the dry ingredients, which is really the salt, sugar, and the flour. And next I'm going to put in the oil and yeast and water. And since it calls for 4 to 5 cups of water, I'm going to first use 4 cups. 2 from the yeast and 2 more from the other container. So I'll have 4 to start off, and then I'll be able to add more as needed. So there you have it. I am going to mix this for 15 to 20 minutes. And then I'll show you if I need to add more water, or at least I'll show you the end result of what it should look like and how much water I use. So I added a 1/2 cup more. It's for a total of 4.5 cups of flour. And I did that about halfway through. And I could tell it's not too sticky, a little bit, but everything lifted from the bowl. And I did make a little mess, a little bit of flour coming out since this bowl is not large enough. But I'm going to cover it with some towels. I'll probably put it in the microwave. I'm not going to use wrap because the plastic won't let it expand more. So I have a feeling this is going to expand much higher than this bowl. So using towels will let it rise up. So I'm going to let it rise, and then I've got to go out for about an hour and a half. That should be plenty. And I'll come back and show you how I knead it back down. So I'll do it twice. And after the second time is when I'll take it out, put it on a cookie sheet for pizza, sheet pizza, And at the same time, I also make any bread or rolls that I want with it. But I won't cook those yet. I'll let the bread and rolls rise a third time before cooking it in a 350-degree oven. My oven is off. It's a gas oven. I like gas, but it's off probably 50 degrees. So I'll check it with a real thermometer. So that's it. So we'll see you back here after it's risen the first time. Well, the dough has risen quite a bit. Actually, it went down a little bit since I took it out, but I'm going to punch it down and put it back in a warm place. Kneaded it, so now rise number 2. Okay. It's rose a second time, so now I'm going to put it in a cookie sheet for sheet pizza, and then I'm going to put it in a couple of loaves for bread, and we'll see if there's any left over. Okay, I took the dough out and made 5 rolls, 2 larger breads and 3 smaller, and then a pizza which just has sauce on it and some spices, and I'm going to cook that first, maybe just for 10-15 minutes, and then take it out of the cookie sheet and then put mozzarella on it or any pepperoni, and then cook it the remaining way to the bottom browns. And I'm going to wait on the loaves here to rise again. So we'll probably wait 30 to half an hour, 30 to an hour maybe, and we'll cover them up, and then we'll cook those too and see what we've done. So I put it in for 15, 16, 17 minutes or so, and then I took it out, took it off of the cookie sheet and put pepperoni on half of it, and then placed it back right directly on the rack so the bottom would brown. Let that in there for 10 minutes or so the pepperoni would cook. Then took it out again and put the cheese on it, mozzarella and a little bit of cheddar just to give it a little color to it, and put it back in approximately another 10 minutes. This was all at 350 degrees. And so it was about 30 minutes watching to make sure the crust browned. And so also the bread, it's still rising. So I'm going to let it go probably another 20 minutes or so, and then I'll put it into the oven. I had it covered, so I'll show you that. The loaves now in the oven. I've got it on for 20 minutes, and I'll check it, probably turn them around and let it go maybe another 20. I'll tell you how much time it took in a little bit. But they're now rising a little bit, and they'll stop in a minute or two when they gets hot enough. So I cooked the bread for about 45 minutes at 350, and it turned out very nice. And I had 2 loaves and 3 smaller loaves.